None of it was true. As Bill Ritter of Eyewitness News here in New York was reporting this, and as it was being reported all over the country that these miners were alive, none of it was true. All the miners except one were dead. And the one who was alive was a young 22-year-old who was barely alive and had lost so much oxygen that I think he's still in rehab even today. And this was like 7 or 8 years ago. As a matter of fact, I remember watching CNN that night, watching the coverage of this, and I fell asleep at midnight, and they were all reported to be alive. And I woke up the next morning at 6 a.m. and I opened my eyes and I was watching, and no, they were dead. And I couldn't believe, especially because newspapers had already printed headlines that they were all alive. How did this all happen? Well, some reporter heard what they wanted to hear without actually getting any kind of confirmation, did not report the truth, was not acting responsibly, not being accountable for their actions, and just said they're alive, they're alive, they're alive. And in that clip, it's sometimes it's heart wrenching because I see all those people just so full of joy because somebody reported wrongly that their relatives were alive. Especially those people were waiting there for almost 3 or 4 days to hear that those guys were alive, and when they were told they were, and it wasn't really true. It's so heartbreaking. So journalists really have to practice those ethics. Now, on a more lighter side of ethics, I want you to watch this next clip. All right. Now, this is from 2008. All right. Now, here's the interesting thing. Katie Couric, who at the time was the anchor for the CBS Evening News, had decided to do interviews with both vice presidential candidates for the 2008 presidential election. First, she went and talked with Sarah Palin. She asked Sarah Palin, well, what newspapers do you normally read? Sarah Palin really couldn't come up with one in particular. She looked pretty silly. And Katie Couric won a Pulitzer Prize, won a journalism prize for this. Well, now she interviews the other vice presidential candidate, which was the senator from Delaware named Joe Biden. I want you to watch this clip. But in particular, you don't have to watch the whole thing. Just watch from 1:47 to 2 minutes 8 seconds. That's 1:47 to 2 minutes 8. And then I want you to tell me what ethical issues CBS faced with this clip. See, what Katie asks him about is about the economy, which of course there was a big downturn in the economy in 2008. Joe Biden then starts to reference the stock market crash in October of 1929, when of course the stock market crashed, which would then lead to the Great Depression. I want you to listen to what Joe Biden says, and then I want you to tell me what are the ethical issues faced by CBS. All right? Go ahead and do that as part of your assignment, and we'll see you soon. Boom.